This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, crime stats paint a disappointing picture, but the police hope a boost in funding will turn those stats around. The southernmost Polynesian festival is underway in Invercargill, and organisers say it's got a bright future. And wannabe Defence Force recruits are put through their paces. We'll find out what they'll face. Good evening, I'm Rebecca Dupree. The latest crime statistics aren't looking good in the southern region, with increases in several types of crime. Unsolved assaults are also on the rise, with a lift in the number of sexual assaults being reported. But police say a funding boost may help to improve the stats.
Stretching the thin blue line. Statistics New Zealand released the nationwide crime figures late yesterday. The statistics for the southern region are better in some areas, including how much police are trusted, which Superintendent Lane Todd believes may be a contributing factor to the high number of sexual assaults being reported.
Yeah, certainly with the sexual offending that is quite a concern. So what we'll be analysing that is actually what does that mean underneath that. So, is that sexual offending in the home or is that sexual offending in a public place? And that's the sort of context we need to establish. And then once we've got some more good data behind that, then we'll be able to actually look at what prevention activities do we need to do to get that down. But as we know, any victimisation in relation to sexual offending is very serious. So we'll certainly be very focused on that.
He says police are working more closely with the community to resolve domestic violence.
Certainly with family violence, we're working a lot closely now with our government agencies, but also our non-government agencies. And there's certainly a lot more collaboration in relation to how we deal with family violence. But certainly if we look at our trust and confidence, Southern District's 82%, and that gets measured every year. And we're certainly in the top 3 districts in relation to that, and that's a positive as well.
He welcomes the recent announcement of more funding for police from Prime Minister John Key. Superintendent Todd says Southern Region Police are among the most trusted by the public in the country, which is one high statistic he's very proud of. Daryl Baser, The South Today.
The University of Otago's research vessel, the Polaris 2, has returned from a successful expedition to the Auckland Islands. Expedition leader Steve Dawson says the focus was on documenting the status of right whales, which breed in the area. The whales made some of the research easier by approaching the Polaris. Dawson says high-definition cameras mounted under drones have recorded some stunning images. The drones were also used to track and study the physical condition of the whales. Dawson hopes the footage will help researchers understand the population at the Auckland Islands and why some populations are recovering strongly while others are not. The southernmost Polynesian festival is currently in full swing at Invercargill Stadium. Murihiku Polyfest is less than a decade old, but organisers say it's becoming one of the highlights of the southern cultural calendar.
This week, Stadium Southland is hosting more than 120 kapa haka groups from throughout the southern region. Organiser Pauline Smith of the Maori and Pacifica Cultural Trust says everything is going according to plan so far.
Running like clockwork, it's as smooth as, and as a leader I feel a bit redundant, which is fantastic. Somebody said that it was a bit like coming into a beehive with just rows of people going everywhere in all different directions, but just running really smoothly.
It's the 8th year for the event, which began in 2009 with a small one-day-long festival. Having been received well, it has ballooned to 5 full days and some evening shows.
I think it's become a very, very widely accepted thing here in Murihiku Southland, which is really great because we could be considered a little bit conservative, but people have really embraced it, and almost every school and early childhood centre in this region and Central Otago region come and perform. It's fantastic.
Smith says having the festival helps the performers and the spectators foster an appreciation of the Maori and Pacifica cultures, but it does much more than that.
Kapa haka is part of our national identity, it's part of who we are as New Zealanders, and when you're from Aotearoa, you always feel the prickles on the back of your neck when you hear a haka performed at any event.
In total, around 6,000 children will perform at this year's Polyfest, ranging from toddlers to teenagers, and 20,000 supporters will come to the stadium to cheer them on. Jack Conroy, The South Today.
A food-oriented organisation has called on the Southern District Health Board to end its contract with Compass. The Real Meals Coalition has gathered thousands of signatures supporting the dumping of the contract. The quality of Compass meals in the region's hospital has been called rubbish. The petition, with 3,000 signatures on it, is going to be presented to Commissioner Kathy Grant tomorrow. Compass has a 15-year contract with the DHB to provide ready-made meals, which some have criticised as disgusting and inedible. For years, the New Zealand Defence Force has been testing the physical stamina of those who intend joining the armed services. Recently, though, many potential recruits were failing the physical, which prompted the Defence Force to begin pre-selection training. Well, this week, a crop of fresh-faced applicants are being put to the test.
Pushing their limits. 9 young adults took part in the first of 3 Force Fit sessions at a local gym, hosted by the New Zealand Defence Force. After a warm-up, Staff Sergeant Greg Fagg explains the test, giving them the stepping stone to monitor their progress to improve and hopefully pass the test when they're able.
We've come along tonight to take some of our candidates that are going through the recruitment process and boost their fitness up so that they can pass the entry-level fitness test.
These sessions are held for first-time applicants, and Fagg thinks it's important to offer it to them.
One of the problems that we faced with our recruitment is there's an academic aspect of it, but there's also a fitness component. And for some candidates coming through the door, they weren't at the level they needed to be with the fitness component. So rather than having people coming up and attempting the fitness test and failing, we thought that we'd instigate this step that gives them a little bit of a boost, gives us some guidance, and prepares them so that when they do actually come to us, that they can actually pass the test.
The multi-stage fitness test consists of the beep test, which involves continuous running between 2 lines 20 metres apart in time to recorded beeps, followed by press-ups and crunches. Depending on how well they do, participants receive credits to compare with other competitors. And when and if they pass, the candidates should be fit enough to pass the New Zealand Defence Force recruitment test. Daryl Baser, The South Today.
Still to come on The South Today, we begin our focus on local body politics.
Stretching the thin blue line. Statistics New Zealand released
Mobility Solutions Centre Dunedin provides products to improve your independence, comfort and safety. Contact the team at 4777 195 or visit mobilitysolutioncentre.co.nz.
Drive-In Miss Daisy is a safe, friendly and reliable companion driving service.
Hello Jean, where are we off to today?
We form genuine friendships with our clients and help them to remain independent. Thousands of Driving Miss Daisy clients and their families love our caring, affordable service. Call us today for a quote on 0800 948 432 or visit drivingmissdaisy.co.nz. Driving Miss Daisy, for the gift of independence.
Every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Wooltech have the experience and the expertise to supply a wide range of high-quality New Zealand-made products and can manufacture customised products to meet your individual requirements. Wooltech, great people, great products, great service.
We need your help to rebuild our animal centre urgently. Please give a little today.
Thinking of services for older people, think Enliven. Enliven is a service philosophy where people come first. Enliven is about choice, activity, relationships, respect and security. You can enliven your health, your friendships, your life, no matter what your age. For more information, go to pearsotago.org.nz or call 4777 115.
Welcome back, and this is where we begin our 2016 local body election coverage. We're going to kick things off by talking to University of Otago Associate Professor Janine Haywood, who is the head of the Department of Politics. Good evening, Janine.
Good evening.
Now, you were part of an independent panel that reviewed local government representation in 2014. What were the outcomes of that review?
So the review panel made recommendations to Council, which the Council considered, and it decided on the basis of what we'd said in its own deliberations and submissions that it heard, that two things should change, that we should vote at large for our Council, and that some changes should be made to the community boards, the way they were structured and how many there were. So the Council made those recommendations. That was then appealed to the Local Government Commission, which is kind of the final step in the process. And as a result of that, the decision was made that our elections would be at large, but that the community boards would remain as they were, except for some boundary changes and a name change.
And what precisely does elections at large mean?
So what it means is we used to have wards for the Dunedin City Council elections. We now basically just have one big ward, is what at large means. Okay. So it means that everybody in Dunedin will be able to choose from the same list of candidates.
So that means that things are going to be slightly different when we vote this year?
It does, yes. So what it means is that everybody's voting paper is going to look much more the same in terms of the selection of candidates that they have.
So there'll be no more South Dunedin candidates?
No, so we had the two sort of smaller or larger geographically wards.
Yep.
So everybody now is in the one central ward.
Okay. How fair is a system that we use compared to that of other cities?
Well, I think all people who vote in Dunedin elections should be really proud of the fact that we have one of the fairest, really. In terms of the way that we elect our candidates, we use the single transferable vote, which is a proportional representation system. So what that means is that more people, what voters want is better reflected in the council that's elected. So that's a good thing for us to be able to claim. And the other thing is that we use random order on the ballot paper, random name order. So we know that when people vote, they tend to, even if they don't realise it, privilege the people at the top of the ballot paper. And we decided, or the council decided, that they would use random name order. That basically means that nobody's paper looks the same. So nobody can get an advantage by being at the top of the ballot paper.
Do you think our voting system encourages more people to vote?
It's hard to say. So what we do know is that there's a lot about first past the post as a voting system that's probably contributing to voter turnout declining. That's because a lot of people aren't happy with the outcomes of FPP elections because they didn't help to elect anybody. So when you vote using a proportional system like STV, more people in the community feel empowered by the election because they can see somebody they helped to elect. So what we do know is that when you look at the difference between Dunedin's voter turnout and some other councils, our voter turnout is likely not to decline as fast as other councils. It's helping to kind of flatten it out, and there may be other things we can do to help increase it.
But do you think that most voters actually fully understand the difference between STV and first past the post and the others?
They'll understand the difference. We know that they understand how to vote in the two systems because that shows in their ballot papers. They may not understand some of the technicalities, but what they will understand is the experience of seeing a council under our proportional voting system that they can relate to, that's more diverse, that looks more like our communities than they used to in the past. So even if people aren't understanding what it is that the system's doing for them, they certainly will be reacting to it in different ways.
Is it reasonable to say that a low number of nominations generally means a lower voter turnout?
Not necessarily. So with local government elections, the nominations have closed. So there's a long time now in a lead into the election. So lots of things can happen that will increase voter turnout between now and when the election actually occurs. And also, you know, it's good news for Dunedin that our nominations are high across the board. We've got a larger number of elections or nominations for community boards than we've had since 1998, I think. More people standing for those, which is great, and a higher number of candidates in other areas as well. So that I hope is a good sign in terms of people's engagement in these issues.
How important is local body politics?
It's extremely important. I'm always telling my students this. I'm not sure they completely believe me. There'll be a lot of people who do understand how important local body politics are. I think the problem is that people really can't clearly recognise what it is that local government does for them. So, you know, if you can get through a day from the moment you get up and turn on the tap till the moment that you go to bed and everything functions well for you and you can get around the roads and use all the services and things, then local government is doing its job for you. It's really important. But I think, I think increasingly local government will become more and more important. We're seeing a lot of kind of local events that really put the focus on local politics. Wellington seems a long way away sometimes. And I think that people are starting to recognise that, which I hope will translate into greater engagement.
And that's a generally positive comment. Is local government, though, performing well all over New Zealand?
I'm not sure that people in the Hawke's Bay would say so at the moment, but you know, I mean, that's a kind of a debate that's ongoing. I think local government is in a transition time anyway. The Labour government that was in power till 2008 was on a trajectory of being quite permissive with local government and enabling it to do a number of things. And the national government's taken a different approach to that, which means that local government's been kind of changing its functions and redefining its purpose. So it remains to be seen, I think, what its future looks like in terms of its shape, but certainly what local government's capable of doing within the rules that it has. I think it is very important.
So would you say then that under this current government that local government is less effective?
No, I wouldn't say it's less effective at all, but I do think that it's just changing its direction slightly. I mean, you know, it's a creature of statute, as they say. It's there doing whatever government tells it can do to do, but I think local governments have a great history of having a personality of their own anyway, you know, and people get engaged in that and make local government what they will.
And tell us about the statistics on the performance of postal votes.
So we've got some really interesting little cases that should remind us how important postal voting is. I think there's quite a lot of debate about things that we should do to try and increase voter turnout, the way that we vote. So we know that when Auckland introduced postal voting in the 1980s, it doubled its voter turnout, and we know that when Hutt City Council took postal voting away for one election, voter turnout dropped by 26%. So we know that postal voting is a really important way to vote in local government elections, but that's no reason not to add on to that other things that can help other voters who will respond to different things. So a lot of people are saying they like the kind of ceremony of a Saturday vote, and that they think that that might draw attention to local government elections and give people one last final push at the end of the campaign, much as we do for general elections, but you know, obviously the advance voting's smaller there. And other people are talking about online voting as another add-on that's really important. I think whatever we do, it should all be recognising that we should be careful about not taking things away in terms of the opportunities for people to vote, rather to think about ways to add on other things that will appeal to a different group of voters.
Head of the Department of Politics at the University of Otago, Associate Professor Janine Hayward, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
And after the break on the South Today, we'll recap the day's news and we'll check out weather for the lower South Island.
Silberhorn's Collagen Plus naturally supports your collagen levels, giving you younger, firmer-looking skin, healthier, shinier hair and stronger nails. Be quick, buy one now and get a second pack half price. Call 0800 502 402.
Drive-In Miss Daisy is a safe, friendly and reliable companion driving service.
Hello Jean, where are we off to today?
We form genuine friendships with our clients and help them to remain independent. Thousands of Driving Miss Daisy clients and their families love our caring, affordable service. Call us today for a quote on 0800 948 432 or visit drivingmissdaisy.co.nz. Driving Miss Daisy, for the gift of independence.
We're at 25 Moreau Place at Dog with Tails Cafe and Bar. So we take coffee very seriously. We do what's called contract roasting, so we're creating our own roasting profile and then doing our own blends. We're really focusing on the craft of what we're doing. You know, we're going back, instead of going on mass-produced sort of cheap things, we're taking the time to really craft what we're making. Make it so anyone can come here and have a feed and be able to get something they're able to eat or that they want to eat as well. You're kind of getting a taste of cafes from all around the world when you come here.
Mobility Solutions Centre Dunedin provides products to improve your independence, comfort and safety. Contact the team at 4777 195 or visit mobilitysolutioncentre.co.nz.
We need your help to rebuild our animal centre urgently. Please give a little today.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Actually changes your mental state. I mean, if you could have a bad day, you can walk in to the house and here's the cat or the dog come up to greet you. No matter how bad a day you've had, it's just disappeared.
Welcome back, and now recapping tonight's top stories. High crime statistics in the southern region are concerning for police, who say a recently announced funding boost should help. The Murihiku Polyfest is less than a decade old, but organisers say it's becoming a highlight of the southern event calendar. And a group of young adults have been put through the paces of the New Zealand Defence Force to see if they're ready for duty. And it's time now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's Otago Daily Times, and Deputy Editor Craig Page joins us. Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, we've got a story about West's, the South Dunedin Business West, which has been battling for liquor licensing issues for the last wee while. I found out today that it will not be able to get a liquor licence and will have to cease selling alcohol very shortly. It's been a bit of a drawn-out battle, this, dating back to last year. In April this year it was granted a liquor licence, but the Public Health South and the DCC appealed that. The appeal hearing, and we've got the final decision today saying no, you won't be able to sell alcohol. It's really been a hotbed out there. We've had lots of letters to the editor, lots of complaints, but there is change to the legislation over what stores can sell and where they can sell it as well. Claims it's too close to a school and they're displaying too much alcohol. The owner, Alf Lauriton, he's obviously pretty upset about the whole thing. Said it will continue as a business selling its soft drinks, but it's certainly going to have an impact on the business. Also, a nice story out of Wakatipu High School in Queenstown. They had a surprise visit today from Stephen Adams, the basketball star, and New Zealand Victoria Cross recipient Willie Apiata, both in Queenstown, holidaying up there, and decided to make a visit to the school. The 600 pupils were told to come along to assembly. We've got some surprise guests, and get ready to produce your best haka, and lots of jaw-dropping when these two walked in. It was nice for them. They spent a bit of time in a question and answer situation and talked to the children about the life-changing events that have occurred for them both. Also talked about trying to inspire others to get the best out of everyone, and yeah, something the kids certainly won't forget in a long time, I wouldn't think. Willie took his Victoria Cross along as well, and that was sort of passed around the assembly hall, so a great opportunity for everyone there.
Very nice.
Inside Out tomorrow, we're looking at a former farmer's cottage in Woodside near Outram, which has been in a family since the 1920s. The woman, Jill Robertson, that owns it, they've been living in Auckland recently and decided to move back down and refurbish it, and it's a stunning refurbishment, well worth a look. And on the sports lift out, we're looking ahead to the Paralympics in Rio, which start next week. A strong team there, headed by Sophie Pascoe, our swimmer. Big team of Otago athletes as well, particularly in track and field. Holly Robinson, javelin thrower, to second Paralympics, and she's looking for some medals this time around, so something to keep an eye out for next week.
It's a big read in tomorrow's Otago Daily Times. Thank you, Craig.
Yes, thank you.
And it's time now for weather.
The South Today weather update proudly brought to you in association with Silverhorns Emu Oil.
And here is today's southern view. It's taken of central Invercargill. And around to the situation. And a cold front in the Tasman Sea will weaken as it moves over southern districts tonight, and it's going to bring a period of sou'westers. It'll clear up tomorrow as a ridge of high pressure approaches. To the central outlook, and we've got fine weather with westerlies for Wanaka, Queenstown and Alexandra, sou'westers for Tiana with a few showers. And to the northern towns, northerlies with some high cloud for Timaru, 20 degrees there. Westerlies with high cloud for Twizel and Omarama, both on 15. In Dunedin tonight, a cold sou'west change with a few showers. Tonight's low 7 degrees. Tomorrow becoming fine and sunny during the afternoon with sou'westers easing, tending westerly, a high of 13. And on Saturday, high cloud increasing during the day with rain developing from evening, a high of 14. And for Invercargill, tomorrow, mixed weather, 12 degrees, and Saturday a high of 14. And that is the South Today. Good night.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.